my name is Monica. Today I'm going to talk about useful tips that may be helpful to do before your interview. You might think that I'm too young to give you this advice, but believe me, I've done this for thousands of times and I know how it works. Once I had a very big failure which made me realize how I should do things differently in order to succeed. And that failure led to my biggest achievement, and I won a scholarship program with 2.5% acceptance rate. And right now I'm in the United States recording this video and sharing my experience with you. So let's get going. First of all, if you want to succeed in the interview, research the program or the company. Go online, read everything about them, find a current worker or student, message them and ask the questions you weren't able to find in their official website. But do not go to the interview without having an imagination what they are offering and what they want from you. This is important because while you are researching them, you may find some answers in your head for possible questions you may be asked. Most importantly, you would understand whether you fit them or not. The next tip may sound a little bit weird because it's time to analyze you. Most likely, before being called to the interview, you have submitted an online application or resume. People interviewing you have read your essays and you do not want to say things that do not match to your application. That's why it's important to go over it once again and study it. Another useful tip that I've never used by myself but I helped my friend to get ready this way is organizing a fake interview. Ask your closest friend or a family member to be your interviewer and ask all possible questions that you think that you may be given during the interview. For example, when my friend was getting ready for his university entrance interview, we organized a fake one the day before the real one. As the interview was going to be online, we did it digitally too. But instead of calling him on Instagram or WhatsApp as we usually do, I sent him a Zoom link beforehand, and when he joined, I greeted him in a formal way. Then I asked him how he would prefer to be called, Simon or Simon, even though he was my friend for years and I knew all the answers for the questions I was giving. Then, before moving to the real questions, I asked a warm-up ones, such as how he feels today, or I asked him to tell a little bit about himself. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that this isn't hard. You just need to find someone who knows how this works and who may be able to give you a feedback in the end and tell you what you should do differently in order to become better. If your interview is also going to be online, which most probably would be the case with COVID, minimize the distraction. Clean up your room, make your bed, get rid of everything that makes you feel uncomfortable. Even though only one side of your room is going to be visible, this tip is going to help you because you would be more focused on your interview and you wouldn't get distracted by the mess in your room. Now, if your interview isn't online, consider leaving home early. Try to be there at least 10-15 minutes early, or on the worst case scenario, on time, but never ever late, because being late would ruin their first impression about you and you don't want that. But before leaving the house, you need to dress up, and this is whole another tip. If you are going to a job interview, wear something professionally. If it's an exchange program or volunteering interview, you do not have to be very formal. Go and Google what to wear to an interview and find the best match for you. But according to my research, experts highly recommend to wear blue. If you are wearing something like this, that's completely fine, but be very careful what your t-shirt says. The last thing I want to suggest you to do is preparing questions for your interviewers. It doesn't need to be something very complicated, but it would make impression that you are very interested in the position or the program you are applying for. It may be something as basic as like when we would be notified about the results, or you can ask them whether there would be any kind of trainings for the selected workers. Or another good question to ask is just ask them to tell about the typical day of a worker in that position. Depending on what you are applying for, prepare some kind of questions for them, because this would really make them think that you are very serious about this, because you want to go more in details and know more and more about the company or the program. Those are my tips for today, and today I mainly talked about what you should do before your interview in order to get ready and reduce the stress in you. But I'm thinking about making another video about specific questions that are very common and you most likely would be asked during the interviews, and give you some advice how to answer the questions. So the next part is going to be like questions and answers. If you like that idea and you want me to do that, support me by liking, commenting, and sharing this video. If you have any kind of questions or there is something that you want me to mention in the next video, leave them on the comment section below. I will try to read and answer them all. And for now, thanks for watching. See you soon.